It's hard to celebrate your business's 7-figure success when you're 6 figures in debt. You could say it's a little bit like digging yourself into a hole, except that hole is your entire livelihood. But the story does have a happy ending, and I want you to learn from my mistakes. Here's the truth about how I was 6 figures in debt while making 7 figures. I made some mistakes in my business. Not an overnight success? Me neither. This was back in 2019. We were doing well with our service. We charged anywhere from $2,500 to $10,000 a month per client. So we had this high ticket service ongoing, but with a service, you have lower profit margins because there's expenses to fulfill. And this service also required me to travel a lot to my clients. So for 2 years in a row, I spent more time away from home than at home. Also being high ticket, people would come to us wanting our service, but not being able to afford it within their price range. So I set out to learn how to provide other offers that were more affordable, more scalable. And I hired coaches. I studied the perfect webinar formula. I hired more contractors on my team to build out the system, and we ran Facebook ads. And I remember the first webinar I ever did. And I'm used to being on camera. I film lots of videos. If you're here watching this YouTube channel, you know I film a lot. But performing in front of a live webinar audience, knowing that I'm trying to give them this value and break their false beliefs and show them a new opportunity, while also my team and I, we've put our blood, sweat, and tears and money into this, and we want to see it work. So I'm in the webinar and I'm nauseous, but I'm also I know that this offer is amazing. I built it, it's my baby. Of course, I think my baby is beautiful and perfect and amazing, but the market doesn't care how much I love it. They have to love it too. And it's my job to learn how to market it so that they believe in it as much as I do. So our first webinar ends. Nothing. No sales, no applications, nothing. But you know what? My mentor, Russell Brunson, he says to keep doing webinars every week until you get it converting. Just keep going, tweak it, learn from it, move on. Second webinar, also nothing. Third webinar, also nothing. And I just remember that pit in my stomach feeling like I'm spending so much money in Facebook ads and for my team. And I have a part of a team that's fulfilling for our existing clients. And then I also have the other part of my team that's working on trying to get this to work. And our cash flow was dwindling. And I was paying my team well. Honestly, more than what I could afford. And I don't know, I loved these people. I needed them. I thought eventually we'd hit it. All of this hard work would pay off. We're just one funnel away. The statement you need to hear with that one funnel away is that your one funnel away is likely not going to come on the first try. You gotta keep working at it. So all of our money was gone, but I believed in my baby. And I believed in my team. I believe in my work ethic, and I knew that if I can put my mind to anything. I've always pulled through in the past. It's just a matter of time. Keep learning, keep adjusting, keep going. Well, what I also kept doing was dipping into my line of credit to keep this afloat. And I'm running out of room to breathe. I am near drowning. Our attempts didn't work on the first try, the second try, the third try, or the 17th try. And I was in Alex Sharfin's program. He is a mentor of mine that I cannot speak highly enough about. Alex has changed my life in so many ways. And he's been there for me through everything: relationship, health, financial struggles, my business breaking and rebuilding. And in Alex's program, I learned about CEO metrics and knowing my revenue and expenses. And in my mind, I justified the debt that this was just investing in myself. It was all gonna pay off one day. This was me paying tuition to learn this stuff. I didn't get a business degree like some people do and they come out of school with school loans. But every month that this didn't work, I was going into the hole $10,000 to $20,000 a month. Well, keep in mind, we still had great revenue. Depending on new clients we would bring in from all of 2018 to mid-2019, they were always between $40,000 to sometimes $80,000 months. And it would fluctuate depending on if we got a new client or sometimes a client would pay in full. One month we got 2 new clients to pay in full on top of our monthly revenue, and we made $140,000 that month. But back to the story, I was bleeding, I was drowning, everything was on fire, and I finally admitted, I can't do this much longer. So I reach out to my friend, my mentor, Alex, and he very generously got on the phone with me. We went back and forth for hours, and it was painful, but we came up with a plan. I had 3 team members that I was paying a lot of money to, more than I could afford, and more than I should have agreed to, knowing the reality of my numbers. I believe that they were worth every penny. I love them. My team is like my family, but I couldn't afford it. And if I let go of those 3 team members, my revenue and expenses would immediately be right side up again. That was the hardest part. Like, I was just trying to keep a strong face while on the inside I was just dying. I love these people. I visited their homes. I spent dinners with them. I played with their kids. I had relationships with them, and I had to tell them that I couldn't afford to pay them anymore. That was like the worst day. And then I had to go back to my team and tell them that I had to let these 3 go, and why, and what the plan was moving forward. And I was then worried that the rest of the team members might go, well, this sounds unstable, I'm out. And thank God they believed in me and believed in the direction of our business, and they stayed. And they stayed in the trenches with me, and their loyalty really encouraged me and gave me hope. But I still had this stress and anxiety because now I'd continue with a leaner team, but now at least a profit margin so I could breathe again. Kind of. The next thing I had to do was take on all the sales by myself, which I was not good at. I remember spending so much of the daytime, like 9 to 5, doing sales calls, and then in the evening fulfilling on the existing client work. Like, I'd work on the business and in the business, working long, exhausting days to the point where I'm like just in tears, frustrated, grinding it out, trying to make it work. And I want to break down for you exactly what I learned from this experience. But first, have you subscribed to this channel yet? I want to give you all of the latest strategies for growing your business. And the easiest way to stay in the know is to subscribe to my channel. So hit that red button before we move on. So here's 2 amazing things that happened. This was like my fork in the road. I was frustrated. I was hitting a wall. I had to find a different way. So number 1, although I was exhausted, I was seeing things in my business that I hadn't before. Because I was the one on the phone speaking directly with my target audience, I was hearing the language that they were speaking and hearing like direct from them the exact pain points and hearing what they needed, which helped me to evolve my language for how I was communicating with them since I was understanding them better. And number 2, I was still not doing well with the sales. And I still wasn't converting well. And now looking back, I see where the offer was off and the messaging was off. And also my sales pitch was just like verbal vomiting. So I reached out to some friends for support in my inner circle that I'm a part of, Russell Brunson's inner circle. I presented my issue and I got lots of great feedback from it. I remember getting on calls with friends. Like they would do everything that they could to help me. I had some friends that they actually teach sales and they build sales team, and their names are Sean Malone and Chris Baden, and they are absolute like just beasts in sales. And as friends, they got on a call with me and they told me about some great sales books to buy, and they looked at my entire pitch and kindly, lovingly tore it apart. They looked at my offer, they looked at the client pain points, and they were like, you know what, this is easy, we can help you. But we both knew that I couldn't afford to join their program. But something that I've asked myself when I've had that thought of I can't afford to, I ask myself, can I afford not to? But here's what happened next. Chris and Sean, who are just dang good people, they love me, they believe in me, they did another strategy call with me. And I had a pitch coming up that I knew could be like the one that I needed if I got it right. So we did an intensive all about that. At the time I had fear around what to charge, how to pitch it, what to say, how to follow up, and they gave me the whole plan, the confidence, the permission. I got on that sales call and I sold a $15,000 package paid in full upfront. 3 amazing things happened here. Number 1, it worked, money in the bank. Number 2, they helped me make money before I ever paid them. So this gave me the money now to be able to join their program. The third thing is that this offer, a few months later, I repackaged and pitched and landed Shark Tank's Damon John as a client. That was the beginning of me learning how to sell better in my business and how to create offers based on what my audience really wanted and needed. It was back in April of 2019 that I had to let go of those employees and stop the bleed in my business and rebuild. Thanks to Alex Sharfin and thanks to Chris and Sean, I don't know what I would have done without them. The rest of April and May, I hustled learning how to sell. But by July of that year, we had our first $100,000 month, and $40,000 of that was profit. August, I had another $140,000 a month, again with profit. And it might sound backwards, but I am so grateful for that experience. And for so many things that may seem negative in life, you know, some people might say, I can't believe you got divorced. Listen, I am grateful that I had that relationship. It's painful how it ended, but I'm also grateful that I get a second shot at a better relationship and I learn from it so that I can be a better partner. And now in my relationships, they're happier because now I also know myself better. But you gotta sit through the rain to see the rainbow. You gotta do the work to get the results. And I have done a ton of therapy and I'm proud of that. And this might sound kind of weird, but I'm kind of glad for my experience that I had earning my first 7 figures in my business. It wasn't really profitable, but it made me see where I need to learn. And it was an opportunity for me to learn my numbers better. So now, because that was so painful, look at how much more capable I am of earning profit now. If you don't take the time to learn to crack that code, your weaknesses won't turn into strengths. So here's what I learned. Mistakes are tuition. And although I wish I didn't have to pay or lose so much money to get the lesson, I learned it and it was worth it. I learned how to sell. I learned how to get myself out of debt. I learned to make $1 million after I lost so much. And I still see that as a win. And I hope everyone listening right now can learn from my mistakes, because the best way to learn is by experience. But if you can skip a few years by learning from mine, you'll be ahead of the game. I want you to be able to learn from these mistakes and learn the exact system that you need to make consistent monthly cash flow that you can count on to sell high ticket. And if that sounds good to you, I'd love to actually give you my highest performing, most revenue generating campaigns that you can plug and play into your business to maximize lead generation and sales. So click the link in the video description below to attend my Hello to High Ticket training.
Video 15. Oh my goodness.
Action. And you could say it's a little bit like digging yourself into a hole, except that hole is your entire livelihood. And in my mind, I justified the debt that I was just going. So here's what I learned. Mistakes are tuition. And although I didn't